Hello my lovelies, today I'm going to be taking you through my setup for October. I've gone for a sort of autumnal tree theme. It's really simple to create. I used some watercolour pencils, which I don't usually use in my bullet journal, but they just seemed to blend nicely and the colours were just what I was looking for this spread. I didn't really want to go with the whole Halloween pumpkin theme because I did that last year, so if you're looking for some inspiration for something a bit more like that, then I will link the video in that eye icon up in the top right hand corner for you to have a look at. In this video, I didn't really want to talk too much about the actual bullet journal spread because for a while now I've not been feeling quite myself and I've sort of been a victim to my own thoughts and behavioral patterns, and I feel like I really need to jumpstart myself to get back into a positive mindset and start taking back control of my life and my feelings and how I'm perceiving the world around me. Now, I know this is kind of a taboo subject for some people, but I think it's really important to talk about. I do suffer from depression and sometimes it gets really bad, and I'm sure there are many other people out there that suffer silently with depression who have nowhere to go, no one to turn to, and just don't know what to do with themselves. So I think it's important that we talk about it so that other people don't feel alone or afraid or like there's something wrong with them. Many people suffer from depression, and it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, yes, but I also believe that it definitely has a lot to do with your mindset. And my mindset has not been positive for a while now. It started last year. I was going through the domestic abuse course. It might have been the year before. I think it was last year. It feels like it's been a long time, but it started when I was going through the domestic abuse course. So I was already feeling quite vulnerable, and it was bringing back a lot of really awful, horrible memories, and I had to sort of cope with them and work through them. But at the same time, there was a really lovely man next door to my shop who I used to chat to every now and again. He was really happy and funny and kind, and I used to, we'd stand outside the shop and have a little chat every now and again, and then he'd go back to work and I'd go back to work, and I just really liked him. He was a really nice bloke. And then one day I came to work and I found out that he had taken his life. And I didn't realize until recently how much that affected me. I felt all sorts of things about it. I felt like I was just angry that I didn't realize he was in so much pain and he was so unhappy. And I just wish I had been able to talk to him and make him feel better. But I mean, when you're really in the deep throes of depression, you can't really be talked out of it by somebody else. A lot of the time you feel like everybody would be much better off without you because you feel so miserable and you don't want to bring everybody else down, and you don't feel like anybody will ever understand. It's a very lonely and sort of helpless feeling time. Now, I'm in a much better place than I was last year. Around Christmas time, it was horrendous. It was really bad. I didn't want to be here anymore, and I started to feel quite jealous of this man next door because I thought, he had the guts to do something about his unhappiness, and I wished that I had the guts to do the same. And then I think about my children, and I just couldn't bear the thought of leaving them and for them to have to live with my actions for the rest of their lives. But it was a very dark time. I was not in a good place at all. Now, on the outside, not many people would really know about it. I mean, my close circle of friends and family knew that something wasn't right, and but it was mostly quite a secret feeling because I felt so ashamed of my own thoughts. I felt like a failure. I felt like I was weak, like I wasn't built for this world, like I couldn't cope with many things that other people cope with. And I just felt like I was failing at life in general. Now, I'm someone who very much believes that what you focus on, you attract. I do believe in the law of attraction. I believe there is things working behind the scenes that we don't understand. But I've had enough experience of, I want to say, playing with the law of attraction and manifestation to know that there is something in it. I can feel it in my gut. But while I was depressed, I lost all of that. I just completely forgot about it. And I was so consumed with how I was feeling and how terrible it was and how I didn't know how to get out of it and how lonely I felt. And it just sort of spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. Now, like I say, I am feeling a lot better than I was back then. Things have definitely improved. However, I'm not where I want to be. So a couple of days ago, I had a real wobble. This is why this video is so late, because I just couldn't bring myself to, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit and be alone. And then I thought, that's a real sort of victim mentality. And I don't want to use the word victim like, oh, you're a victim, victim blaming and all that sort of thing. It's more for myself. I don't want to be a victim of my own thoughts and my own feelings. I want to take charge of my own thoughts and feelings, and I want to take control of my life and what I decide to do with it and where I decide to place my focus. And it's not, nobody else is going to do that for me. Nobody else is going to tell me what to think about and tell me what to focus on. And you know, I haven't got anybody there saying, right, get out of bed in the morning, get up, do a workout, you know, get yourself dressed, have a shower, do all this, eat something. I don't have anybody doing that. And I've sort of been waiting for someone to come along and sort of pull me out of this apathy and this, you know, this depression. And it's not going to happen because other people have their own problems and issues that they need to deal with. Also, I don't want someone else to have to save me. I want to be able to save myself. And I want to build a sort of emotional toolbox to help give me a sense of inner strength and power and fortitude so that I can fight back when things start going really bad. I don't want to just give in and feel really crap all the time. I don't want to do it anymore. Now, taking my own life isn't an option. It's not something I want to do anymore. Having someone else come and magically save me and make me feel better isn't going to happen either. Things aren't just going to magically change by themselves. So I've decided it's time to take back control of my life and how I am feeling. And I'm going to do something about it because nobody else is going to save me. And that's the same with most other people. Yes, you might have a support network, but you don't want to have to rely on other people to pull you out of these terrible feelings and this depression. If you don't suffer with depression, then I'm sorry, this video may not be helpful to you at all, but I'm sure you probably know someone who is dealing with depression. So, you know, I'm not trying to teach anybody about depression or tell them how to fix it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I don't know, I'm still figuring it out myself. But I know that I'm not just going to go and lie down and take it anymore. This is my life and I'm going to take control of it. So to do this, I thought, obviously, I need to think more positively. I need to decide what I want. And I thought, well, I don't know what I want. I don't know. And then I thought, well, I know what I don't want. So if I write down what I don't want and then change it to the opposite thing and then work out a way to take some action to change that, it's going to help me focus more on improving the areas that I really need to improve first. If I can't think of a direct action to take, if I don't know what I'm supposed to do to fix it, then instead what I will do is write a short affirmation that I can repeat to myself when I feel those negative thoughts start coming back. The other thing that I can do once I know what I want is start visualizing it. Because before I was thinking, because I know how effective visualization can be. I know the science behind it. I know that your brain can't tell the difference if you're imagining something or if it's real. So using visualization can be a really, really effective technique. But before, I wasn't sure what I wanted to visualize. I just didn't know. I didn't know which way to turn. But now I'm going to have a much better idea of exactly what it is that I want, which is obviously going to make it a lot easier to visualize it and visualize it in detail. Another thing that I'm going to start doing straight away is to stop trying to explain myself to people. With having fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, I feel like I have to justify needing to rest or justify why I can't do certain activities, which sometimes mean I end up complaining a lot. And I don't mean to be a complainer. I don't want to complain. And obviously, if I'm complaining, it's bringing other people down. But I feel as if I need to explain to people I'm in pain and I'm tired and I don't feel well, because I want them to understand that I'm not just being lazy. It's not something that I'm doing on purpose. It's something that I'm battling with and that I'm doing my best to fix. But there's only so many times you can tell someone that you're in pain before it starts sort of sounding just like a noise. If you hear something over and over again, it starts to lose its meaning. And also, I don't want to have to justify the fact that I need rest. I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I have fibromyalgia. I have chronic fatigue. It's something that I am learning to cope with in my life. And I don't want to waste my time convincing other people of the things that I need. It's just going to waste their time and it's going to waste mine. So by not talking about it all the time in an effort to explain myself to people, I'm not going to be constantly reiterating the fact that I'm unwell, because if I'm saying that all the time, I'm just recreating it constantly. So what I'm trying to say here is, even if you don't have a health problem, if it's just that you've had a bad day and you need to take some time out for yourself, don't try and justify it and convince people that that's what you need. It's time wasted. You're better off taking that time to nurture yourself and not keep focusing on the negative aspects of it. Hopefully you're in an environment with loving people who will understand and give you that time. But if they don't, you still have to be able to stand your ground and say, this is what I need for myself. Because if you're not feeling well in yourself, you can't help anybody else. The next thing I'm planning on doing is just completely immersing myself in the words and wisdom and lessons of inspirational people or things that uplift me. A few examples would be Neville Goddard, who talks about the power of your mind and your thought and how it creates your reality. Abraham Hicks is very similar. I also like people like Mel Robbins, who's very practical in what she teaches, to give you practical tips. There's so many books that you can go through to find inspiration for ways to improve your life. And it's important to not just read those things or just listen, to actually put those things into practice. A lot of the time I read this information, I absorb it, but I don't actually do anything with it. So I'm going to make much more effort to actually put those things into practice. Sometimes it's not the right time, or I haven't got the time, or I'll do it later. But later never comes. It's like tomorrow never comes. So one of my sayings now is, if not now, when? So the plan is, if there's something that I can do that I know will improve how I'm feeling, I should do it there and then and not put it off. Unless, of course, you've got kids that are trying to kill each other or they set themselves on fire. Obviously, then you need to go and sort that first. There are exceptions where, there are things that need to be done. But if I'm just sat around and I'm thinking, I should probably do that because that will make me feel better, I need to find it within myself to get up and do it, because I will feel better afterwards. I sometimes feel like I'm battling with two versions of myself. The version that wants to be the me that I'm proud of, and the version of me that just can't be bothered. And a lot of the time, the one that can't be bothered seems to be the one that wins. So I'm working on building up my strength and determination to make sure that I am striving for the things that I want while still taking the time I need to rest and recuperate. Now, when it comes to filling out my journal with these things that uplift me and keep me motivated, I have my successes page, which is coming up soon, and my gratitude page. And I love these pages. I do fill them out often, but I don't think I'm using them to their full potential, because I'll write down, I did this quite well, and I did this quite well, and this was a good thing that I did for my successes. But I'm not really sitting in that feeling of, I did well, I'm capable, this is something that I've done that I'm proud of. And I think it's more important to sit in that feeling than it is to actually write it down, because that's what's going to keep you going and keep you inspired to keep going and keep going and keep going. It's the same with my gratitude page. I write the things down that I've been grateful for that day, but I'm just sort of listing them almost as if it's just a routine. It is a routine. It's good to get into a routine with your bullet journal, but what I really need to focus on adding into this routine is taking a bit of time to sit and reflect, not just write it all down, but actually reflect on my day and how it's been, and feel the emotions that the things that I'm writing down are evoking, because those are the things that are powerful, not just writing it down, but feeling those things. So for my successes and gratitude pages from now on, I'm going to make a real effort to use them more efficiently so that I get the full benefit of them. Otherwise, what's the point in having them? It's just making more work for myself that's not actually giving me any benefit. On the next spread, I have added a new page that I've titled Daily Kindness, because when you're depressed, sometimes it can be very difficult to focus on things outside of yourself. I know I personally become very selfish, and I don't mean to. It's just that I'm so stuck in my own head thinking about my own problems that I forget that there are other people around that maybe have their problems too. I mean, I'm not completely unaware or completely insensitive, but I'm definitely way too focused on myself, which doesn't help anyway. It doesn't help me to keep dwelling on my problems and how I'm feeling. So I decided to make a daily kindness spread, and the idea is that each day I'll write in something that I did for somebody else, something that I went out of my way to do, whether it's someone I know or someone on the street, something to help somebody else, because it's important to give back and be kind to people. I honestly think that kindness is one of the most important things in the world, so I'm really looking forward to using this spread. And then the next one is a spread for Tristan and Ridley, and I'm planning on putting in just things that we did that day or something funny they said, anything that involves Tristan and Ridley, things to look back on, happy memories, possibly appointments and things like that, because then I'll know exactly where they are. But I just think it's going to be a really, really lovely spread to look back on, and it's going to help me refocus and make sure that I am spending really good quality time with both of them, because sometimes when you're feeling overwhelmed, the last thing you want is kids running around you and demanding your attention and needing, you know, parts of you that just aren't available at the time. So yes, that's another one that I'm looking forward to using. That's all I really have to say about this this spread in this video today. I'm sorry if you find the topic uncomfortable or, you know, irrelevant, but I just wanted other people to know, you know, that if they're struggling, they're not the only ones, and that it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to need a bit of extra care and attention. But I just want to encourage people to try and find it within themselves, to pull themselves out of that deep pit, because I personally don't think anybody else can do it for you. So I think it's really important to try and do it for yourself. And it may take a long, long time. It may take a long time, but I think it's really important to never give up. Just don't give up. And also, of course, if you're struggling with your mental health, the best person to go and see is a GP or a doctor. Please don't struggle on your own and not tell anybody about how you're feeling, because there will be people who love you, who want to help you. So make sure that you are reaching out to people that you trust. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about this topic. I'm hoping you found it helpful. I hope you don't feel alone, and I wish you all the best for October. My October is going to be filled with a determination to improve my mental health and my life in general, and to do it for myself. Thanks for listening. Bye.